Four keys. Number one, stop the run. This one's obvious, and a lot of these are going to be really obvious. It's what Arizona State wants to do. It's what they're good at. I think Cam Scatterboo is the heart and soul of this Arizona State team. It's like one of those war movies where the just unstoppable warrior guy gets beat. Like when Hector got beat by Achilles in Troy. They were like, "Oh shit. If Texas can stop Cam Scatterboo, not only is that hugely detrimental to like what they're actually trying to do on the field physically and game plan wise, but it is like that is going to be or could be just an absolutely brutal emotional blow to this team. You take him out of the game, you've just demoralized Arizona State. We've seen the Texas run D be leaky almost all season. We've seen it almost every game. So I certainly think this Arizona State offensive line can make some holes. It's okay for him to get some yardage. I mean, I think he will. But what they've got to avoid is him consistently getting to the edge and consistently getting in these one-on-one matchups with secondary guys. If they can limit those opportunities and keep Scatterboo just kind of bottled up, I think they'll be in good shape. I think a fast start offensively could go a really long way for Texas and making Arizona State kind of adjust away from that running game as well. I know they like Scatterboo, and I don't think they'll give up on him. You know, if Texas were to go out and jump up 21-0 in the first quarter, I don't think they give up on the run. That's still a lot of time. But if Texas carried that through into the second half, at some point you just start to run out of time. Key number two, they got to take the ball away, which is something they do really well. They're the best team in the country taking the ball away. Arizona State, one of the best teams in the country protecting the ball. I think they're ranked 9th in the country in turnovers lost. I say we got to take the ball away because I think Texas is going to turn the ball over. It's just what they do. It's like, at this point, it's like part of the offense. They've done it almost every single game this season. I think Texas will have opportunities to take the ball away. Every game, there's been balls on the ground. There's been defenders in position to make interceptions. Every single game. Texas got to take advantage. They got to continue to execute that because it's a strength. They got to make sure that that strength remains a strength. Key number three, don't forget the run game, which sounds a lot different than you've got to run the ball. I think they do have to run the ball. But if they do, they got to not forget about it. The only two games that Texas has lost, and most of the games where they've struggled to score, it's games where they struggled to run or they just abandon it at times. We saw it at Clemson in the second half, early in the second half. Let Clemson get back in the game. We turned into a passing team all day. We ran the ball down Clemson's throat in the first half. And all of a sudden we came out and we just didn't want to do it. Just would not do it. That can't happen. If it's working well, man, you got to do it. I don't care if you put a goose egg up passing the ball. You can run the ball for 300 or 400 yards. Run the ball for 300 or 400 yards. Win the game. Bury the other team. Arizona State pretty decent against the run. They're pretty poor against the pass. They're really poor against the pass. And I think Sark's going to want to try to take advantage of that. And that's okay. I mean, it's a weakness. Bond's back for this game. And passing the ball is just what Sark wants to do. We all know that. They need to attempt to run the ball early. They need to do it often, regardless of whether it's working or not. It's just something you have to do. If you don't do it, you put too much pressure on the quarterback, too much pressure on your offensive line to hold up and pass pro. It's just not very conducive for success. And if it is working like it works, like it's worked the last, more often than not, the last few games, you got to just pound it, man. Talk a little later about what we think Texas is going to do offensively to start the game. But even if that works, even if they get the ball through the air a lot and they're making some hay, they gotta mix the run in there. Key number 4, leave no doubt. We've talked about it so many times this year. This Texas team, they've just failed to play a complete game for 60 minutes ever. I don't think they've done it. I don't think this team has played its best football. It's played its best football at times in really quick spurts. I mean, we've seen this team go on these runs. Well, they'll rack up like 3 touchdowns, like nothing. And then it'll be a quarter and they do nothing. I think this Texas roster is better. Coaching staff is better. Arizona State, though, has a very large, very prominent chip on their shoulder right now. They're really comfortable and really happy playing the us against the world card. We've seen it in the pressers. Everybody's seen the clips of the quarterback. Everybody's seen Scattaboo talking about how people doubt him, and they're one of those teams with a massive chip, and they're just talented enough that if you let them hang around and have any kind of life, they can beat you. I think Texas needs to start fast, and they need to finish for 60 minutes after that. No more dicking around, man. It's freaking playoffs. Texas had a chance to absolutely crush Clemson in the first half of that game, and they didn't do it. They failed to score on a drive where they just picked off the ball inside Clemson territory, and they got nothing. And they should have got another touchdown. That's one area where I think this Texas team still hasn't figured out how to execute consistently, is like in the let's just choke them out. Let's end this. So for Texas, you just got to go be better because you are better. And I don't mean that to take anything away from Arizona State. I think they're a good football team. We said it on this show before. 11 wins is not easy. I don't care what league you're in. But Texas, if they're playing their best, is light years better than this Arizona State team. You got to go out there and do it.